Ladies and gentlemen, in here actually I want to stress once again that our goal is same. Actually the problem is about the sex, ladies and gentlemen. That in here we are talking about in the teenager era, in the senior high school. Actually the tangible problem is literally exists right now in society. Like there is many kind of sex disease, sex problem like free sex or abortion and something like that, and so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. And then, but in here, unfortunately, the affirmative team cannot really give to us the clear mechanism. Moreover, when they just want to including the sex education into the curriculum, they didn't explain at all. They just want to adding the study time, or they just want to change the primary lesson to be sex education, or what? Or they just want to make the sex education by primary lesson. But in here, they also cannot give the clear explanation about is there any same bargaining position between the sex education and the other primary lesson like mathematics or physics or biology, like my second speaker has told you about that. But then, in here actually, there are two kind of classes. First, there's suggestive learning classes, and then second, there's active learning classes. First, the suggestive learning classes, when the affirmative team just to justify that sex education is really justifiable to be included in the curriculum. But because they believe that with including sex education in the curriculum, they can protect the student directly, because the student will teach by the qualified teacher and directly. But in here, and why we believe that seminar is more justifiable, because there is this kind of seminar really included between the parents, between the parents and the children and the student. And then there's when there's only information that the student get only from the class, it's very not effective, because there's no contravention after that. When there's just information, it will be useless, ladies and gentlemen, because we see that the proof, like the morality lesson like PPKN that already get by the student, and the student are still not obey the information, obey the theory of the PPKN itself. Because of what? Because there's no contravention. Moreover, the sex education lesson, the sex is really sensitive problem, and many students, many teenagers got the sex problem. When there's no contravention and there's just only information, of course it's not really enough, ladies and gentlemen. Because of that, we believe that it's really more justified if we create a seminar and then involve between the parents and the student, and then the communication will be created, and the taboo problem will be abolished, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we will.
Yes, because basically this is about education. It means that the material is about the sex education. It means that the seminar will be the education, sex education seminar. It doesn't mean that the material is about the how to create a relationship between the parents and the children.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, the sex education, we all, of course, learn about sex, a whole problem about sex. But in here, the communication and the gap between parents and children will be abolished also, and will be removed, and that's the goodness, the superiority of the seminar itself. It's really different with a class. When enjoy your seat, ma'am. And then when there is in the class, there is only one teacher who teaches lots of students, many students. And then when we compare with the seminars, when the parents is really involved to the children, of course, one children will teach by one parent in home, and every time, and German prove to you that it's really more effective and more efficient when we compare that in a class. It means that one teacher can guarantee that all of their students can get the good information and can obey the theory of the sex education from the class. And because of that, we believe that it's more justifiable. Our mechanism is more justifiable. Seminar is more justifiable than sex education in a class. And then, ladies and gentlemen, when also they believe that it's really justified, it's really effective, because it can protect the student by creating awareness, and then not all of the parents have enough capacity to receive the information from the seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, in here, the seminar is really created by the government, and then the parents also involved to the seminar. Of course, in the very first time, we also agree that not all parents have enough capacity. Because of that, we need to create a seminar to create good capacity of the parents, ladies and gentlemen. And then after they got the seminar, of course, the capacity of the parents will be increased because of that. And here, and also from the very first time, the schools also really want to oblige the parents, oblige all of their students to have parents all the representatives. And because of that, the proactive action from the parents is really needed. Not only from the school, but also the parents. And then the school, in the form of the very first time, is really agree about that. Because of that, they really often to invite the parents to go to school. And then in here, and also why we believe that in here our mechanism, the seminar is more effective, because when the affirmative team also can guarantee that the environment in the schools is also good, and they just believe that the environment and the circumstance, and because there's a friends, is really good, and it's really good for the sex education that conduct in the schools. But in here, how can they guarantee that the environment is good, ladies and gentlemen? And we just say also, we cannot say that the environment in home is worse than in school. In here, why we believe that it's more effective, because the parents can control directly, ladies and gentlemen. The parents can control the environment and also their children directly. And then because of that, the environment in the home is more controlled than in school, because we don't know at all with whom the student is with a relationship. What about their friends? Is there any environment? Is there any bad environment in the school? Of course, we cannot guarantee at all. But when we conduct the sex education in the home, of course, it's really full guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen. And then that's the point of effectivity and justification. And moreover, why we believe that our proposal is more apprehended than the affirmative proposal? Because in here, we believe that seminar is more effective and efficient, because first, the taboo mindset will be abolished, and the affirmative cannot touch about that. And here, we believe that it's more effective and efficient, and this is a win-win solution.